Ever feel like you could do so much more? Like there's this awesome you, hiding under all that I can't and what if stuff.
Hmm.
Well, get ready because today's deep dive, it's going to be like our chisel. We're going to chip away at those limitations, all that stuff holding us back.
I like it. So where are we diving in today?
We're diving into C. Locrease. Locrease.
Okay, for those of us who don't speak Spanish.
Right. It
Mm.
translates to, if you believe it, you create it.
Catchy.
Right. And get the book. It claims that our thoughts, just our thoughts, they're even more powerful than, get this, the number of molecules in the universe.
Whoa, that's a bold statement.
Right. So I got to ask, how can, just thinking something, how can that make it real?
Yeah, it's not about like magic or anything. It's more about the power of our beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Think of it this way. We don't see the world directly, not really. We experience it through this filter, and that filter, it's made up of our beliefs, what we already believe about the world, about ourselves.
Okay, so you're saying that if I believe I'm going to fail at something, I'm basically setting myself up to fail from the beginning.
Exactly. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know?
Yeah,
If you believe you can't do something, are you really gonna try that hard?
probably not.
Right. And even if you do try, you might be, without realizing it, sabotaging yourself, just proving your initial belief was right.
So we're kind of stuck in these loops of our own making.
In a way, yeah. The book calls it operating under the law of belief. What we believe, it becomes our reality.
Okay, I get it, but it's kind of a scary thought, right? What if most of us are walking around with these limiting beliefs, these invisible things holding us back, and we don't even realize it?
Yeah.
Like, where does that stuff even come from?
That's the thing. This book, it argues that we aren't born with these limitations. It's not like we come into the world thinking, I can't all the time. These limitations, we learn them.
We learn them.
Yeah, we pick them up, like absorb them, often from our childhood experiences.
Interesting. So, like, what our parents say or how they react to us as kids?
Exactly. Think about when you were a kid. When you messed up, even small stuff, how did your parents react?
Now that you mention it, I do remember my parents getting kind of, I don't know, freaked out whenever I made mistakes, even little ones.
And they probably meant well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But constantly being afraid to mess up, to make mistakes, it can create that voice in your head that I can't voice, and it sticks with you, even as an adult.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. So is that one of those negative patterns this book talks about?
You got it. The book calls it one of the two major negative habit patterns. Fear of failure.
Okay, that definitely sounds familiar. What about the other one?
The other biggie is the fear of rejection, which often shows up as this voice in your head that's all like, I have to please others.
Ooh, yeah, I know that voice.
This one, it often starts in childhood, too. Imagine a kid who only gets love and attention when they're being good, when they're pleasing their parents.
It's like their survival instinct kicks in. If I don't please them, they won't love me, they won't take care of me.
Exactly. And those beliefs, especially the negative ones, they can get really deep, you know? They shape how we see ourselves, our abilities, even our self-worth.
This is starting to feel kind of heavy, not gonna lie. Is there any good news here?
Oh, there's good news. The good news is we don't have to stay stuck with those beliefs. We have more power than we realize.
Okay, now you're talking. How do we get from I can't to I can? Where do we even begin?
Well, the book breaks down this whole self-improvement journey, and it all starts with understanding something called self-concept.
Self-concept, okay.
Yeah, and there are three key parts to this. Your ideal self, your self-image, and your self-esteem.
Okay, I'm listening. Break it down for me. What's this ideal self all about? Is that like the superhero version of ourselves?
Haha, you could say that. It's like, picture the best, most awesome version of yourself. That's your ideal self, driven by your values, your deepest dreams, all the things you truly aspire to be. And the clearer that vision of your ideal self is, the more it acts like, a compass. It guides your actions, your choices, towards actually becoming that person.
So instead of just drifting through life, we need a clear picture of where we want to go, who we want to be.
Exactly. That ideal self, it gives you direction, it gives you purpose. And then there's your self-image. Think of it like your internal mirror. It's how you see yourself, good and bad.
So if I see myself as like awkward and shy, I'm more likely to act awkward and shy.
Exactly. It's another self-fulfilling prophecy thing. How we see ourselves influences how we show up in the world. But here's the cool part. The flip side is true too. Seeing yourself as capable, as interesting, as worthy of love, that changes things too.
Okay, so we've got the ideal self as our guiding star and a positive self-image to help us get there.
Yeah.
What about self-esteem? Where does that fit into all of this?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the ideal self as our guiding star and a positive self-image to help us get there. What about self-esteem? Where does that fit into all of this?
Self-esteem, well, it's like the foundation of everything. It's just how much do you like yourself? Really like and respect yourself, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it impacts like everything, your relationships, your work, even your health. Having good self-esteem, it gives you the confidence to go after what you want, to set boundaries, to not fall apart when things get tough.
Yeah, it's like having that inner voice that's like, yeah, I got this, even when things are hard.
Exactly. And here's the interesting part. This book, it argues that we're not stuck with the self-esteem we had as kids. We can actually like reprogram our subconscious. We can build up our self-esteem no matter what happened in the past.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. Reprogramming. Sign me up.
Yeah.
But how do we actually do that? What's the secret sauce?
Well, the book gives us some practical tools. And one I think is really powerful is this visualization exercise. It's all about like consciously shifting your focus to the good stuff about yourself.
Ooh, I love a good visualization. Tell me more.
Okay, so it's pretty simple, actually. Step one is you got to identify your best qualities. So grab a pen and paper, and I want you to write down three things, and be honest here, three things you genuinely like about yourself. Could be anything, your sense of humor, your taste in music, whatever really resonates with you.
Okay, got it. 3 awesome things about me. Written down. What's next?
All right, step two is where the magic happens. You're going to stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eye, and say with feeling, I like myself, and mean it.
Wow, okay, that's powerful. I can see how doing that regularly could really change your energy, how you see yourself, you know?
Exactly. The more you do it, the more those positive pathways in your brain, they start firing. It's like that law of repetition we talked about. Our subconscious, it learns by repeating things over and over.
Right, it's like learning a dance move. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
Mhm.
So when we focus on our good qualities, we're basically retraining our brains to see us in a better light.
You got it. And this connects back to that law of correspondence. If our outer world is a reflection of our inner world, then as we change those inner beliefs, our outer reality will change too. It's like you're putting out a whole new vibe.
So instead of attracting more of the stuff we don't want,
Hmm.
we can focus on our strengths, the things we like about ourselves, and we'll start to see more positive experiences.
Exactly. And look, it's not about pretending our flaws don't exist. It's about choosing where we focus our energy, you know, our
Yeah.
thoughts. They're powerful. They can either limit us or set us free.
Okay, this is giving me a lot to think about. What if we took all that energy we spend on what we can't do or what we're not good enough at and focused on what makes us, well, us?
And, you know, building on that, the book also talks about how important our environment is, like the people we surround ourselves with. Remember that fear of rejection we were talking
Yeah.
about? It's so much harder to keep a positive self-image when we're around negative people all the time. Think about it. If you have a friend who's always criticizing you, putting you down, how does that make you feel?
Not good. It's like their negativity starts to rub off on you.
Exactly. Our environment, it really shapes our beliefs, whether we realize it or not.
It's true. If you're constantly around people who doubt you or only focus on the negative, it's going to be a lot tougher to hold on to that positive self-image.
Right. But when you surround yourself with people who believe in you, who encourage you to grow, to try new things, it's so much easier to quiet that inner critic and, you know, be your best self. It's like having your own personal cheerleading squad.
Ooh, I like that. Everyone needs a cheerleading squad.
Sure.
So if you're feeling surrounded by negative people, maybe it's time to find some new cheerleaders. Find people who lift you up, who inspire you.
Exactly. And, you know, don't be afraid to be that cheerleader for other people, too. When we support each other, celebrate each other's wins, it creates this awesome ripple effect of positivity.
I love that. It's like we all have the power to make the world a more positive, more empowering place. But it has to start with us, with recognizing how powerful our beliefs are and choosing to focus on the good.
Absolutely. And that leads us to this big question the book asks: if your outer world is a reflection of your inner world.
So we're back, and I gotta say, this whole outer world reflecting inner world thing has really got me thinking.
It's a pretty powerful concept, right? Like, what if our lives are kind of like a mirror reflecting our beliefs back at us?
Yeah, it's like when you realize your messy desk. Maybe that's just your belief that you work better in chaos or something. Or you're always late because deep down you're afraid of commitment.
Maybe, maybe. The book would say it's worth looking into. What parts of your life feel like a struggle?
That's a good question. What if, instead of just accepting things, we looked at our lives through the lens of our beliefs, like really examine things?
Exactly. Say you're always struggling with money even though you work hard. The book might suggest looking at whether you believe deep down that money is, like, scarce or hard to earn.
It's like We're sabotaging ourselves without realizing it because we don't think we deserve it or that it's even possible to be successful.
Exactly. Or maybe it's relationships. Maybe you keep finding yourself in the same unhealthy pattern.
Ouch, yeah, I know that feeling.
That could mean there are some beliefs about self-worth you need to look at. Are you, like, drawn to people who reinforce a negative self-image? Something to think about.
Wow, that's deep. It's like not blaming ourselves, but taking responsibility for the energy we're putting out there, the beliefs we're attracting. So how do we actually break free from those patterns?
It starts with noticing them, becoming aware. Then we can start to challenge those limiting beliefs. Our brains are amazing, you know? We can rewire them. If we've accidentally reinforced those negative beliefs, we can choose to reinforce better, more positive ones.
So it's about making new pathways in our brains, changing how we think about ourselves and the world.
Yeah.
But that takes effort, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like exercising a muscle you haven't used in a while.
You got it. It's not always easy, but it's so worth it. This book reminds us that those old beliefs, those past experiences, they don't have to define us. We have the power to choose what we think, to create a reality that feels true to who we are.
I love that. This whole deep dive has been such a good reminder that we're not just stuck with whatever happens to us. We can create change.
Absolutely. And what's even more exciting is that this journey, the self-discovery thing, it's available to everyone. It starts with just one thought, one decision to challenge those limitations and embrace who we really are.
That is an amazing thought to end on. So, as you go through your day-to-day, pay attention to what you're telling yourself. Challenge those old beliefs, embrace what makes you awesome, and watch how your reality starts to shift. Remember, if you believe it, you create it. And that wraps up another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep believing in yourself, and we'll see you on the next one.